Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started with our webinar here today. My name is Michael Tallheimer. I lead the commercial team at All Energy Solar, and I'm looking forward to taking you today through probably more of a high-level summary of some of the important factors that you might want to be considering as you look into the possibility of adopting solar energy and other renewable energy sources and solutions for your business. And in particular, today, our webinar is focused on the storage facility and warehousing facility industries, which is a always active industry in our marketplace, and certainly presents us with a lot of great opportunities for seeing the types of solar projects and renewable projects that we provide in action every day. With that, just want to give a brief introduction to myself. My name is Michael Tallheimer. I'm the Director of Business Development here at All Energy Solar. I am fortunate to have been part of the team here for just about a decade. I joined All Energy in 2016. I come from a prior background in different industries, hospitality, food service, retail, among a few others. And in my 10 years here at All Energy, I've really benefited from serving a lot of different types of clients across dozens of different industries, including certainly storage and warehousing. I'm just an active person outside when I'm in my free time. I love getting out, traveling, fishing, spending time with my family. And I currently reside here in the metro area of the Twin Cities, just outside of St. Paul, Minnesota, where my family of four enjoys just being on the outskirts of our great city. I'm going to provide just a little bit of a background on our company, and then take you through some of the ins and outs of what makes solar a really good opportunity to consider for a business and a property such as yours. But before I get into that, our company, All Energy Solar, is a relatively time-honored participant in this space here. We design, install, and provide support to many thousands of renewable energy projects that we have completed and served over the years. At this point, we are staffed and have the capacity to provide over 1,000 unique new renewable energy projects per year to the market. And I'll highlight here in a moment as I show you our kind of coverage map, how expansive our area is that we can support. But a lot of that comes as a basis of getting support from our teams, which are located here in the Twin Cities in St. Paul, where our headquarters is, which is where I'm dialing in from today. We also have locations in Madison, Wisconsin, Aurora, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, and Westfield, Massachusetts, just a little bit west of Boston, more towards central Mass. We're a family-owned company. We've been in business since 2009, so this year is our 17th year. And our real focus is to provide in-house comprehensive services for design, installation, and customer support in the field of renewable energy. Our aim is to provide those that own and operate their own facilities, pay their own utility bills with a means to recover some of those ever-increasing costs by building some equity around having a renewable and alternative energy system at their property. And that can be a project of any size, flavor, or type. Whether it's a small facility or a large one, we're really well suited and supported to handle all the needs to get that project conceived and then ultimately developed, constructed, and activated at your property. We are a licensed and insured building and electrical contractor. So, one of the things that we focus on here at All Energy Solar is trying to cut out the third parties wherever possible. That means that you're going to have one group to work with through the entire development of the concept of the solution for your property, all the way through getting that system installed and then providing you with that ongoing support that you would want to have from any new system for decades to come as your project lives on its useful life. And as I just alluded to briefly earlier, we have a lot of experience in this space. As of the end of last year, there's over 12,000 customers that have worked with us to complete projects in our roughly 16, 17 years. And that really represents a great variety of different systems and solutions. And we really do lean into doing good by our customers day in and day out. Every company should, but there's kind of a method behind that. It can't just be all talk. And so we've got a really active customer base. They love to share their experience working with us. And I really encourage folks, no matter how large or small the opportunity might be that you're looking at, to give our company a little bit of your own time for research and due diligence. We have a wonderful community of customers that have offered their commentary about working with our company online through various different sources. We've amassed over 2,500 reviews that provide a 5-star rating for their experience in working with us. And we spend a lot of time working with our customers to try to encourage passing referrals to us because that kind of trusted reference can really go a long way. And we know that there's a lot of noise in every industry, and it's important as an end user and as a consumer to cut through that. So I encourage you, if you're considering which company might be the right fit for you, to not just take our word for it here within the company at All Energy, but take a look online and see the plethora of great comments that have been provided that should back up the support that we know we can offer every day. I mentioned our team is situated to provide complete turnkey support for your system, and we really do mean that. This graphic is really just intended to give you a visual that shows kind of the different steps and stages that a project will pass through from the origination phase all the way to the after installation support phase. And at every stop along this journey, you're working directly with people from our company, from All Energy. We develop with our customers the right solution site by site. We estimate and provide accurate and bankable quotes for the solutions that we can deliver through our own internal pricing and design team. We will work through our project management staff to hold the reins on your project throughout its entire cycle. We aim to self-perform the entire installation effort and then provide you again with that ongoing and reactive support that you might need as this project lives on into the future. And if we do everything that we aim to, there's not going to be another party that you would need to reach out to, connect with, call, or inquire with to get you that complete support from end to end. And that's something that we continue to this day, even as our business has scaled pretty dramatically. I mentioned I'd kind of show a visual representation, if you will, of our markets and our projects. Certainly, this is pulled back from a great distance here, looking at the lower 48 US. And you'll see from the map here that the bulk of our customer base is in our kind of two focus regions, which is the Midwest and in New England. But there are pins scattered in other parts of the country too, and that's a function of the commercial team that I lead, working with operators that might have facilities that extend beyond those, what we would call home regions for us. And that's okay. We're not proactively looking for individual new projects in states that are far from our home base, but we're very customer focused at All Energy Solar. So if there's an opportunity to engage with you about something that's maybe closer to home, and that experience is such that you'd like to expand upon that and consider other facilities in other parts of the US or even beyond, we're really well suited to support that. And I'm really blessed to be backed by a really extensive team here at All Energy that enables us to be that really reliable partner, no matter where our customers might end up taking us to pursue other project needs and interests. We talk about our company and how we support the commercial market broadly. We really do want to make clear that we're more than just a designer of systems or an installer of solar, electric, battery storage, or other efficiency projects. We develop and deploy these solutions hand in hand with each customer, and we aim to keep you as our customer for life. We have no intention of wiping our hands clean of a project once the system is switched on. And we want to continue to foster a strong relationship with you as you enjoy the benefits of the project that we've provided to you. Our area of focus in solar, though, is specifically guided to be primarily in the what we refer to as behind the meter space. So think of that as providing you with a system that influences, meaning on your side of the utility metering, it influences how much power is being drawn into your property from the grid. The less power you bring in and the more you generate yourself, the more benefit gain and energy savings you're going to enjoy as that bill payer. So don't think of us as a company that looks for open territory to build solar and feed the grid exclusively. Our main aim is to help you as that end user and that current bill payer reduce the amount of consumption that you need from the grid and enjoy the whole host of benefits that come along with that. Because that's our focus, our industry support is really vast. We're talking today about storage facilities and warehousing, and that's absolutely one of our main markets. But that's not the end of our capabilities, certainly. If you have a viable footprint for solar equipment or other efficiency equipment that we can provide, and you pay a utility bill, then theoretically you could be a customer for us. So if what we talk about today, albeit somewhat focused in the storage and warehousing space, resonates, but you might have other properties in mind, or you might know others that have properties in different industries with different facilities, we're absolutely willing, able, and capable of interfacing with you and with them on any such properties. We'd love to have those conversations if you're interested. I think if you're curious about how solar energy can support your business in the short, intermediate, and long term, and you might have an interest in learning more or researching more about this today, a lot of it probably stems from some of the things that you're seeing on the page here now. It is not a far-fetched delusion to suggest that we are in the midst of, if not nearly on the doorstep of, a full-scale electricity crisis, really, in our society. And that is not for the lack of advancement, innovation, and excitement about the future and what's to come, but it's more about the reality of how much energy it takes to power our homes, our businesses, our cities, day in and day out, especially given the rapid rate of new large-scale development and the need for energy to drive information. This is just a small handful of some of the most recent headlines that have made our airwaves. I think I pulled most of these just from February and March. You can imagine that every month before that would have its own set of headlines that really do speak to the same thing. But the headline here is electricity demand is increasing at a rapid pace. Data centers and the advent of AI as it incorporates itself into just about everything we do in the business world, but really also in our personal lives too, is really leading our nation and our world into a new space of energy need, one that has never been matched before. And this continues to rise much faster than maybe was even predicted 5 or 10 years ago. What this means for us as ratepayers is that every energy unit consumed costs more day in and day out. And we're seeing our utility partners propose rate increases at a much more aggressive clip than ever before and more frequently than ever before. And unless you have any other alternative solution to help reduce or recover some of those expenses, then we as consumers are really left with no other option but to just continue to pay more every time we see that next utility bill. This is not a trend that's going to subside. And this is a reality that all of us as energy users are faced with, and I think reading about and hearing about a lot more frequently. We know confidently that the solutions that we can provide can really make a difference for you as an operator and can help you defray some of those really significant cost increases that might have a real measurable effect on the way you run your business now and for years well into the future. So, as we talk about businesses and what's driving more conversations in this space and why we're seeing the adoption rate of alternative and renewable technology at a greater clip than ever, year in and year out, it's driven by a plethora of many factors, but I've got to pull a couple out here that I think generally hit home the most for the customers that we serve. The first bullet point I just alluded to, we're seeing escalation of energy rates at an unmatched clip compared to prior years and prior decades. It's staggering to read this, but in many markets around the country, retail rate for electricity being delivered to an end user, it's up over 35% just in the last 5+ years. So take a moment to let that sink in, and then think about parlaying that to projected increases of another 25 to 45% increase over the next, call it 6 to 10 years. And frankly, I feel like that may be a conservative number, but the headline here is, what does this mean for you as a facility operator? What does this mean for your operating expense to keep the lights on, keep the machines running, keep the heating and the cooling systems working efficiently? We are paying more for the same energy delivery every single year. And unless you have a means to reduce what that inbound energy need is at your property, you're just going to be subject to handling, taking on, accepting those energy rate increases as they continue to roll in. And that's going to make business a lot more expensive to do. And we all know we're faced with cost pressures across every area of our society today, but there's few areas where you actually have an opportunity for an alternative solution that can help you reduce some of that pain. The electrification of things, I just mentioned AI, data centers. You're seeing this in the development around our cities and even in our rural areas of America, where in many cases, a lot of these big new energy users are being developed and constructed. This is putting a tremendous amount of stress on our grid. Resiliency should be top of mind if you are running a facility that needs power around the clock. And frankly, basically everyone does at this point. It doesn't necessarily mean a production line is running 3 shifts a day, but we're all plugged in 24/7. And so as the grid is stressed to unheard of levels, especially now and into the years ahead, having some of your own power generation on site, being able to lean in towards resiliency could have really great value to you long term. The thing that people seem to lose when they're sometimes considering whether making a shift to a renewable project is, well, why would I invest in something that takes a while to pay off? Well, you have to pay for your energy every single moment anyways. But when you pay your utility bill, you don't get any return on that payment. That's essentially a rent check out the door for your property. If you invest in a system like a solar project, for instance, that helps significantly reduce your energy cost exposure, you're actually building equity in the way you use energy. And you're having some control over where those cost increases are going to lead you for decades to come. So this is a really valuable tool in your tool belt of operating expenses to help you combat a lot of those utility rate increases for the delivery of power that we're all going to experience for years to come. Now, the sustainability piece is, we certainly believe at All Energy Solar, paramount. We're trying to help you benefit your business and your pocketbook, but also your community. And to a degree, most commercial customers that work with us would advocate that committing to sustainability really helps build the brand in today's day and age. With a new wave of consumers, new requirements and expectations within just global supply chain about how to clean up your energy use, how to reduce your carbon footprint. This is one of the really great options that you would have to move the needle in that direction if you haven't considered something like this before. And really, the icing on the cake is that we're still operating in a space now, in particular in the commercial world, where you can leverage really valuable incentives and you have access to financing solutions that can really improve the payback of that initial capital investment to help you not only recover that cost, but move into that space really rapidly of providing your facility with free energy, something that is most likely not an option for you currently today. Storage and facility warehouses, storage facilities and warehousing facilities are great landscapes for solar. You don't need to have a particularly large electrical need or a large footprint to leverage this technology, I've just pulled out a couple of options of some of the systems that our company has designed, developed, and installed for those that manage facilities that are quite like yours. And they come in different shapes and sizes, as you can see here. But where there's an energy need and there's a space for the technology, we really use that surface to the fullest. And right now, the majority of solar ends up in rooftop, in particular in your industry. Rooftop solar is a really economical, building envelope friendly, and cost-effective way to install a system like this and create your own energy. But it also provides you with a real flexible application to reutilize what's otherwise just a static space in your facility, your roof, and put that roof to work, provide revenue that can ultimately get your business to reduce its operating cost exposure and also provide a source of clean energy to supplement your energy needs at the property. Every customer we talk with is always going to be curious, how valuable is the investment here and what type of project returns should I expect when I invest in a project like this? This is really where my team and I do the hard work for you on the front end of any of these projects. There is no one size fits all with solar. We have every resource at our disposal to find the right solution for your property. And once we do so, our aim is to come up with an efficient design for a project that makes it as cost effective as possible to land that system at your facility, and then help unlock the story behind how valuable those incentives are that can really help you accelerate the payback on that project, even beyond the monthly savings that you're going to enjoy on the energy bill. We are still operating in a space where federal tax incentives are on the table for commercial businesses. This is not something that, unfortunately, we can speak to in the residential space with some of the policy shift that we've experienced in the last 12 to 18 months here in the US. But due to some revised guidelines with the One Big Beautiful Act of 2025, we do still have some really valuable incentives that businesses can leverage, albeit on a bit of a condensed timeline, which I'll take you through here in just a moment. People are curious, if you invest in a renewable project, is it going to take 10, 15, 20 or more years to see your return? And with a combination of factors involving project and material costs, incentives available on the table, and then the significant value of offsetting the cost of energy from your service provider, from your utility provider, it's really reining in that payoff window to a number of years. And in many cases, with commercial properties, it can be as little as 5, sometimes as little as even 3 or 4 years to hit that payoff point. And then depending on the factors and variables in play, maybe a few more years than that. But keeping in mind, these systems are built for longevity. 25 to 30-year manufacturer warranties come with the equipment, and the useful life on a solar system, for instance, on top of a storage or warehousing facility, should be measured in 40 plus years. So you're really setting your property up for decades of reliable and valuable energy savings, not just a few years before this project needs to be replaced with something different. One of the greatest gains for those that adopt solar is knowing that they have a bankable solution for eliminating some of that cost exposure for a very long time. The project cycle can be somewhat of a lengthy one. We are contractors and this is construction, but that also means that we have to be prudent to follow the steps and not make sure that we overstep any of the milestones that you migrate through as you go through your schedule. We start with engineering and design, then we get into utility approval and permitting. Our equipment is procured towards the middle of the project cycle, and then your installation and the commissioning and the switching on of the system takes place in the back end of this calendar. Typically, we see anywhere from 8 to 12 months from the time that we would sign an agreement with a client to begin work on a system to when we have that kind of closeout uh, experience when we are having the switch on party. And so that means those that are talking to us now in 2026 may very well be in position to have a system like this activated at some point in 2027. And that is our schedule to manage for you, but the perspective for us to set with you is that it doesn't take just a couple weeks or even a few short months to get one of these project active. It takes some planning and execution, and that's important too when you're considering what else is going on at your business and what type of cycles that you have to typically manage through to get through your business flow. We are more than just a solar company here at All Energy. I mentioned battery storage systems, EV charging. We also have partners in the space of LED lighting, where we have the ability to help with retrofits and new installations to improve your lighting and reduce your energy usage and costs associated with that area of efficiency. We are a full-fledged operations and maintenance, or just read solar service company too, dedicated to every customer we serve. And then monitoring is really one of the greatest tools that you have after a system has been activated. You have the ability with that to see exactly how your investment is performing, sometimes even minute by minute. And that is a great tool for you as an operator and a user now and for decades to come. Federal incentives have kind of been thrown through a bit of a washing machine over the last couple of years, not just exclusively in the space of renewable energy. There's a lot of policy shift that we've all encountered in the last, year and a quarter. What's really important for folks that own commercial properties and want to consider renewables to understand is that we still have time to leverage really valuable tax benefits associated with your project. But we are approaching a couple key deadlines. The first of which is the 4th of July this year. We have a window available now, as it's the end of March at the time of this recording, where over the next 3 months, if any renewable projects commence before that time, then there's the ability to do what's called safe harbor those valuable tax credits. And what that does is essentially earmarks or reserves a valuable federal tax credit for your business based on the purchase price of your system, and it gives you a 4-year window to leverage that and to complete the project in full. So those that are curious about solar today, there's no better time than now to engage with our team, learn about what's at stake and what solution might be right for your property. And then if we have a means to even initiate our engagement with you before that July 4th mark, that gives you the most amount of runway to have the project in surface and not be at risk of some of those really valuable federal incentives going away. Those that begin the process of proceeding with a formal project after the 4th of July have a much shortened timeline to still be able to leverage this incentive. In fact, if we begin and commence your work on July 5th or later, there's no longer a 4-year timeline for your project to be in service to qualify for these tax credits. It becomes basically 18 months, the end of 2027. So while that's certainly within the realm of possibility based on the project schedule I just explained, there is something to be said about not having to rush any part of the process to get your system complete. And it doesn't require a lot of investment before this upcoming safe harbor deadline for you to be able to leverage that. As you see here on the second bullet point towards the middle of the screen, we only need 5% or more of the project cost in total invested by that safe harbor deadline to lock in these incentives. And a lot of our customers are anxious to do just that, if nothing else, just for the sake of having more time to get all the way to the finish line. One other footnote, certainly most businesses in this industry are going to be for profit. In addition to a federal tax credit, your purchase now also qualifies for 100% bonus depreciation in addition to that credit. And so that alone can account for another roughly third of your project costs. So really significant tax implications are at stake today, and that's something we'd love to customize for you based on the opportunity at your unique location. This really is just a visual that shows kind of what I described in words a moment ago. If your project begins construction or commences by the 4th of July this year, that's where you see that central large blue bar, 4 years allowed to reach PTO or permission to operate within your project cycle. If we miss the July 4th deadline, but you still have interest to engage with us shortly thereafter, we're up against that end of 2027 deadline and doing everything we can to make sure that your project is complete and activated before that point so that you can continue to enjoy that really valuable incentive before it's gone. Because if you miss the safe harbor window and you miss having your system in service by the end of next year, then unfortunately, as the tax laws are revised and written today, these really lucrative tax benefits are going to be gone by 2028. Headline at the bottom: do you have a vision for solar anytime in the next 4 years? And if you do, meet with our team, discuss your options, and consider the pathway to safe harbor as soon as possible. So how we can help is certainly we want to have you schedule time with our team. We are absolutely focused on meeting with as many customers as we can in as timely a fashion as possible. And we love to meet in person if you're local or regional to us, but we're also capable of meeting people from a distance. So don't let that be a barrier. If you're not right next to one of our office locations, that's okay. Our team's really collaborative and willing to connect with you remotely as needed. We still would love to have the opportunity to evaluate your properties individually, and that's our cost of doing business, but comes after that brief introduction. And then we'll provide you with a custom project specification with the full return summary that shows you all the features and benefits that you can expect to gain from the project. Lean on our team, allow us to handle all the heavy lifting, but we know with great confidence that we'd be able to provide you with a great solution that is certainly more cost effective for you and for your business than continuing to pay full retail rate forever from your utility provider, especially in light of what we're seeing in the market today and what's expected for many years to come. I'm going to close out here and say thank you very much. I'm happy to answer any questions if there happen to be any from those in attendance, and I'm going to just quickly click over to the chat and see if I can uncover any of those, if there are any today. So bear with me for just 1 second. Okay, so I do have a question here about if I lease my property, am I able to still take advantage of these incentives and the benefits of solar if I'm not the building owner? The short answer here is yes, but with some caveats. We have worked with tenants to install solar on the properties that they rent or lease from a landlord or a property owner. However, it is really important that we have good collaboration with that owner. In the instances where we've done this at All Energy Solar, there's been long lease agreements in place, and in most cases, already long history of engagement between the tenant and the landlord. But it can be done, and in certain cases where the tenant has the responsibility of paying all their utility costs, and has the approval from the landlord to utilize some property or some part of the property to install solar, we can accommodate that, and that can be done. And there's another question here that's just around, project timing. How quickly can we activate work once we get going? Just kind of looking back at that slide a few steps earlier. We don't have the ability to be out on your property overnight, even within a couple few weeks, to begin an effort like this. It does take that kind of step-by-step approach that I mentioned before, but we absolutely will manage that process for you. The process can initiate rather quickly, and that can be measured in weeks. To see the entire project through again, we're going to be likely somewhere in the space of 8 to 12 months total time from start to finish. One final question here is just what's the best way to get in touch with our team? allenergysolar.com is our main website, which goes directly to our group. You'll see numerous opportunities within the website to connect with us and meet. Our phone number, 1-800-241-26, excuse me, 1-800-620-3370. That will come straight to our inbound team here at All Energy, and you can be looped in with our team. Or you can email us simply at commercial@allenergysolar.com or info@allenergysolar.com. And those will go to a number of representatives right here inside our four walls that will receive that inquiry, route you to the right person, and speak with you in short order. Our aim is that if anybody reaches out, you hear back from us within 24 hours. We'll get something on the calendar to meet with you in person or remotely, and then we'd love to hear more about the individual project needs or interests that you might have. That's all the questions that I'm seeing here on the chat, and we're just a couple minutes over the 30 minutes that we had allotted. So I'll go ahead and end the call here. I want to thank you very much for joining. Certainly reach out to our team at All Energy Solar if we can help you in evaluating the potential for any property that you have, large or small. And we very much look forward to meeting with you as soon as you're willing and interested. So with that, thank you very much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.